Let's see, we're live. Hopefully, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? This is your brother Shazaz coming to you live. Hopefully, we live on multiple platforms. Didn't have a chance to check everything out, I'm being told. But I do know it's live on one of them because I just heard it. What's going on? How is everybody doing? I should be. You ought to be watching me on YouTube anyhow, but it should be live on Facebook. And it should be live on, I think, maybe X. I don't know. But anyhow. So we're going to try to keep this thing rolling. Peace to all the positive people in the universe. What's good, Richmond, Virginia? And hotep to the Pan-African black world all over the globe. And anybody else, if that don't fit you, if you ain't been characterized by that intro, then let me just say this. Anybody else, you are welcome here if you know how to look beyond the smoke and mirrors. As we put puzzle pieces together to see the big picture on the proper perspective. So, what we talking about tonight? Well, y'all saw the title, or you see the title: Panthers, Lions, and Power. What name change really means? We're talking about legacy. We're talking about liberation. We're talking about symbolism. We're talking about strategy. We're talking about the new Black Panther Party, or can't call it that no more. The new Black Lion Party. That's what we're talking about here tonight. So, if you're just joining, if you're just coming into the video stream, if you're gonna please participate in the comment section, but make sure you do what you see over here on the bottom side of the screen. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when we do go live and put up video. But like I said, today we're going to talk about Paul Birdsong and the announcement. Now, let me see. I think I got one other part that is missing, and I need to try to find that. I thought I had that pulled up, and wouldn't you know it, I do not. Well, I'm going to have to try to find that again. So please bear with me for a second because I wanted that up as we get started in this thing. So let me see if I can find that video. Now, where is that video? Let me see. Hold on. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bear with me for a moment or two as I do my search. It always happens that something goes wrong when you don't need it to. Make sure we get this thing rolling. Once I find the search, here we go. Yeah. Okay. So now we about ready to get it rocking and rolling. So we're gonna start over just a little bit. Sorry for the delay. So as I was saying, we're gonna be talking about Paul Birdsong. And this is we're gonna try not to be too emotional. And even though this could be considered a reaction video or reaction stunt, we're not going to really try to dive into being reactionary. Don't think of this as an attempt to be to express outrage. That's not what we're doing. What we're trying to do tonight is just have a little bit of a political and historical perspective, a proper perspective. Because what happened in the announcement, and I'm going to show the video. Fair use. I'm going to show the video. Is the brother has decided to make a change to his organization, a name change to his organization. Now, there are some who say it's not just a simple change, it's an ideological change. Hey, we shall see. But either way, whether it's just a name change or it is a deep-seated change in ideology, I actually think parts of this conversation deserve just a little bit more slow down and let's seriously contemplate. Because, you know, a lot of times on the internet, things just go. And people just start running with things and talking about it and keep rolling. I want to try to slow this down. Now, I will say for me personally, don't get it twisted. I have always supported the Black Panther Party. Now, I ain't that old, so I won't hear when they was stomped. But I've always supported the idea of the Black Panther Party, the reality of the Black Panther Party, and not just the symbolism. I mean, I am an advocate and a strong supporter of the living, breathing political tradition of it. And I am aware of some of the things that had started to get said, you know, after the video, after the supercharged video came out. But I've also always understood that the Panthers were never just local. So for me, a lot of this talk, something just seemed amiss. So when folks get on and say, well, I knew something was wrong because the Black Panthers ain't never cared about other people, I got an issue with that. Because the Black Panthers had a complete international component. They had a theory about internationalism, they had a strategy about internationalism, and they had a worldview. So like I said, I want to break this down properly. You know, what's good about the name change, what's complicated about the name change, and what I think this actually represents or means politically. Shout out to Kevin, Mr. K. He says, good evening to the Pan-African Terminator. Right on. There you go, bro. So let's see. Let me see if I can pull this video up. And let's try to get this thing started a little bit. Let me see. Move. Hold on. Stop sharing. No. Hit the wrong button and we're out of here. Stopping. Let me add this to the screen. Let's hope this thing works correctly then. So here we go. We're going to try to pull this up and make it, put it on the big screen. We're going to try.
That after he gave me orders to make a video saying that him and other members were coming, that he withdrew his support.
Yep. There we go. Now we got it right here. I'm trying to make it big. There we go. Now we got it. And we're cooking. Let me turn this music down a little bit. Make sure y'all can hear it. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear his voice over the music. If it's gonna play. And now it's not gonna play. Ain't that something? Yeah.
As everyone knows, all power to the people. As everyone knows, I'm Paul Birdsong. I got a message from Aaron Dixon today saying that he no longer supports us. That after he gave me orders to make a video saying that him and other members were coming, that he withdrew his support. And that he said that this situation is unimportant to him, even though my comrades have risked their lives and spent thousands of hours of their time and dollars and life standing behind a cause.
Okay, so we're gonna pause for a hot second. We're gonna pause for a minute. And so, you know, the real gist of at least this little beginning section, he says Aaron Dixon no longer supports us. Okay, that's important. So first thing to understand, I don't necessarily think this is a personal beef. It's not a personal conflict. Now there is some legacy, there is some issues with, you might want to call it legacy politics, authorization politics. I hate to use the word, there might be some lineage politics going on. But the question is, it begs the question, who gets to claim history? And that's not a small, teeny, tiny thing. That is a serious question. And that tension alone creates a structural problem for any movement trying to organize in the present while carrying the weight of the past. So, you know, there has to be we have to wrestle with it. And honestly, I think, and we're going to get to it later, but I think he made the right decision in changing the name. Let me go on a little bit, see if I can pull this up. Let me see. So let's see if we can scoop this up.
You know, he said he's going to make a statement saying no one has the right to call himself a Black Panther going forward. I told him to make sure that he put in that statement that he did, in fact, give us the right to call ourselves that, because I still have the messages where he did, just in case he doesn't. And I put in there also, make sure that he put in there.
Okay, so you heard that, you may not have seen it, but you heard him say, and let me see if I can get this back down. Let's see. In this case, says, so of course they also care immigrants and the diaspora. In this case, says, it was the Black Panther Party taking a stance against U.S. foreign policy in the global South. It also made them public enemy number one in the eyes of the U.S. government. This is absolutely true. Let me see. There's something in there. Add to this. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Now we got that back. So let's run that back a little bit, shall we? Or let's continue to hear what else he says.
Henry Douglas did give us the right to wear that emblem, because I still have the messages where that happened too. But as all power to the people, as everyone knows, I'm Paul Birdsong. I got a message from Aaron Dixon today saying that he no longer supports us, and other members were coming, that he withdrew his support, and that he said that this situation is unimportant to him, even though my comrades have risked their lives and spent thousands of standing behind a cause. You know, he said he's called himself a Black Panther. Has the right to call himself a Black Panther. You know, he said he's going to make a statement saying no one has the right to call himself a Black Panther going forward. You know, he said he's going to make a statement saying no one has the right to call himself a Black Panther.
That's the part. To some extent, you might want to say that's the kill shot on this name thing. But like I said, you know, I'm not necessarily, I'm not mad. I can't say that I was a part of the organization, but I can understand why the people who are in the fold of the Black Panther Party, you know, the children of those legendary members, the spouses, the nieces, nephews, etc., of the legendary members. Of course, I can understand them having an issue. But like I said, so he clearly has said, it's come to his attention. There's a problem. Let me see what I'm going to try to do is, if I can bring this down again.
Going forward.
Let me see.
Take place in the home they call crime.
Okay, so we got that down. So he made that announcement. His actual video is a little bit longer. I'm gonna try to find the extended version, because there's a couple of other people that we need to talk about. This is the one. Here we go. So,
all power to the people. As everyone knows, I'm Paul Birdsong. I got a message from Aaron Dixon today saying that he no longer supports us. That after he gave me orders to make a video saying that him coming, that he withdrew his support.
Here we go.
He said that this situation is unimportant to him, even though my comrades have risked their lives and spent thousands. All power to the people. As everyone knows, I'm Paul Bird.
Well, we're gonna have to work that out a little bit later. For some reason, it's not letting me fast forward and whatnot. So we'll deal with that in a heartbeat. But let me move on. Later on in the clip, he says he makes mention of not being solely, strictly, only advocates of black nationalism. He says we're internationalists, we're intercommunalists. Now that's the part I was trying to play, but I don't know what happened to all of the okay. We can get this to play right. So I don't want anybody saying you're making it up. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So here we go.
Said in the video that I shared on my page earlier that black nationalism is acquiesced to racism, and that we don't stand like that. That we're internationalists and intercommunalists, just like Huey Newton said. We would no longer identify.
We're internationalists, we're intercommunalists, just like Huey P. Newton said. Just like Huey P. Newton said. So this is a part of his commentary. This is part of what he's saying as part of, why they're gonna make this change. Why they are announcing this change that they're making. So let's see. So we want to lean into that. We want to lean into that. Oh no, what happened? Okay, so as we lean into that, let's talk about that. Because this part matters, because people act like, well, some people, I've seen some people talking online. I've heard some people saying some things. And they want to act like it's random. People are saying, well, he came out from nowhere anyway. What are they even doing? I don't think it's all that random, and I don't think it's all that coming from out of nowhere. Now, Huey P. Newton did develop intercommunalism. Huey P. Newton is one of the founders. He did move beyond nationalism. He moved beyond race-only frameworks. Now, I'm not saying that Huey P. Newton didn't care about the brothers and the sisters. I'm not saying that Huey P. Newton abandoned local concern. I'm saying Huey P. Newton expressly added on local plus global. So let me clarify, because like I said, when I say he moved beyond nationalism, when I say he moved beyond race-only frameworks, I don't mean he stopped caring about us. I ain't putting that on him, and nobody else should. I mean that his theory of intercommunalism expressly said, now I may be paraphrasing, but he did speak on it. And he said U.S. empire and racial capitalism are global systems. He said you had to analyze them at that level, not just as local or strictly national struggle. Huey said we have to think globally and act locally. Now, to be precise, I ain't putting words in his mouth. That's my paraphrase. But that idea, I'm sure you heard it before. I'm sure you heard it from somewhere. That's where it can be traced back to. And it's not just a slogan. It's an actual political theory. Now, Huey's actual language was intercommunalism and reactionary intercommunalism. And in those talks and in that theory and framework, he was describing a world system where U.S. power ties every community together. And then arguing that you build local organs of power, see, you still have to build your local organs of power, but you have to recognize that you're building it inside a global structure. That's what people today summarize as think globally, act locally. And I'll go even farther. Eldridge Cleaver, Eldridge Cleaver consistently emphasized international, revolutionary struggle, global imperialism, and transnational solidarity. So the Panthers were never only a domestic movement. Yes, they did all of their, I can't say all, but yes, they did the overwhelming majority of their fighting here in the U.S. while they were here in the U.S. Let's not forget, some of them left. Many of them left because they had to in order to stay alive. But even once they left, they still spoke about the local problems and the global problems. They still joined, at least in solidarity, with world community issues. Now, as an organization, the Black Panther Party itself, they had what they themselves called international sections. Now, some people have said, or I've heard the word and I like that better. Some people, they had embassies. And I like that word better, but that's just me. They call them international sections. So you get the idea. Alliances, global revolutionary ties. But none of that means that they believe that you sacrifice yourself for others or for another group. It didn't mean it then, it don't mean it today. So when Birdsong says internationalism, that's not a new ideology. That's old Panther theory. And that should be, clear. That should be recognized and realized. Again, I think too many people are, I'm not going to say that. I think I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. Let me try to move on to this next section of the clip. Let me see. I got to do some moving around and stuff to get it where it's supposed to be. Okay. Well, here we go. If we can play this. Remove. Add to stage. Okay. Now we're going to play this next section.
We're going to take OG from the town's advice. We're going to take the name that he decided to put out there. We're We're going to call ourselves the Black Lion Party for International Solidarity. Reason for the international solidarity is because we will stand with the immigrants. We will stand with the people being terrorized for ICE. We will stand with any oppressed people across the world. We will keep feeding every single day, keep offering food every single day. We will keep patrolling the community with guns. We will keep stopping drug dealers, keep stopping sex traffickers. We will keep stopping police brutality. This little plaque that
All right, now. So you hear what he said? Black Lion Party for International Solidarity. Now, I ain't mad at that. Like, if you want to take an issue because you don't like lions, I mean, you know, I don't have time for kindergarten logic. But let's talk what's good about the name. And let's look at what's strong about it. Point number one, I want to say, because this is a good thing. If you are aware, some people are not aware. If you are, if you know, you know. But at least since the recent, what some people are saying, outrageous comments, the safe line repair, the hole the size of a door, those comments, you know, that captured the nation's attention, sort of kicked off a legacy warfare. Huey P. Newton's niece came out and said, I'm going to sue you if you don't stop saying the name. Aaron Dixon has called him and said, stop using the name. Other elder and rightful people, you know, Huey P. Chairman Fred Hampton's son, Fred Hampton Jr., said, we don't rock with that. So there's this legacy warfare going on, and that type of thing takes away from the work that's actually being done or needs to be. So dropping the Panther name removes the entire authorization war. It's no longer a thing. There are no more lineage in this group. There's no more, well, who gave you permission? There's no more legacy politics. That's a good thing. It's not a weakness. That means they are now, I hate to keep using that movement's terms, they are now untethered. They now can stand structurally independent. Now, if you feel as though the name is too weak, I actually heard some people say, well, name is. So if you feel that the name is too weak, if you feel as though maybe that's coming from this, I wish I wanted to be a panther. I don't want to be no lion. Look, I would suggest, okay, I'm gonna be a little more serious. I would suggest that perhaps what you're experiencing is a desire to relive the past. Don't confuse nostalgic sentiment with the work that needs to be done today. You're experiencing nostalgia, not activism. And if you get too caught up into nostalgia, then you lose track of the concern for the people and the problems that we're facing. Because if it's just about a name, I ain't gonna even say it. But if it's just about a name. But anyhow, the fact that they've changed the name, there's something else that's interesting, that is needful, useful. International solidarity actually fits the Panther framework more than a lot of people want to admit. Now, if they don't want to admit it, okay, that's fine. But you cannot, nobody is allowed to erase historical facts. Whether you be the Trump administration, whether you be the Nishidites, or anybody else. Historical fact is just that. Intercommunalism was about global systems of oppression, not just black nationalism. Now, that's not a shot at black nationalism. I wholeheartedly believe in black nationalism. I just don't believe in claiming one frame of thought and saying, I don't want to be nothing else. So conceptually, to say we are concerned with the international community, to say that we are concerned with other people in our neighborhoods and in our community, it's not a problem. That's not random. That's conceptually coherent and consistent with what the Black Panthers actually did and what they spoke for, what they stood for. Now, another thing that really needs to be talked about, this new framing, the Black Lion Party of International Solidarity. This framing opens space for immigrant solidarity, labor coalition, anti-imperialist movement, and transnational organizing. Now, anybody that thinks you don't need anybody else, talk to me when you realize how hard it is to survive as one man on an island. From a movement building standpoint, that's expansion. That's getting wider. It's not a contraction. It's not a subtraction. But there's, and one other thing I want to say about the name change. We've ended the legacy politics war. You're no longer dependent on historical symbolism. So again, if you have because he's doing, membership drive, and I'm not here trying to say, well, there's a problem too. Every organization got to have members. But one good thing is, if people were only going to think about joining because they wanted the right to say, I'm a Panther too. Well, now you've cut the grass, you've mowed the lawn, gotten rid of some of the silly issues, because now they ain't gonna come. You're no longer dependent on that historical symbolism. So now the ball is in your court, even more so. Now you are forced to stand on present day reality. Now, in the video, in this clip, and in other videos and in other interviews, he has discussed the feeding programs that they've been doing, the police patrols that they've been doing, the organizing, and their visibility. And he says they're going to continue. That's what real organizational accountability looks like. So from a strategic standpoint, this move actually has a lot of logic. It's not chaos. It's not confusion. It's political repositioning. Let me see. So again, I salute the brother for making the change, for making the name change. Now, we can't be naive, we can't be blindsided, because there are some complications, there are some limitations. So yes, just as now you can stand on your own, I mean, it's not as though there weren't good reasons for coming out as a new invigorated iteration of the Black Panther Party. Because the Panther name itself carries political gravity. It carries cultural memory, historical authority. It is, in and of itself, psychological power. And that you can't replace easily. As you step into this new era of Black Lion Party, BLP, yes, let's be honest, it doesn't carry the embedded political meaning yet. It doesn't have historical symbolism yet. There's no revolutionary mythology. All of that has to be built from the scratch. But he didn't come up out of nowhere. This is not a 2026 organization. This organization has been this movement, this group of brothers doing things. They've been doing things since the George Floyd era. So that's around 2020. Now that's not just me. That's what people are reporting. That's what he is saying. in interviews. There are news articles from the 2020 George Floyd era where he was on the street. So now we also got to say international solidarity, it is powerful, but it is also broad. And especially in this day and age, people are leaning so heavily into the zeitgeist of Trumpisms, where everybody just wants to be closed-minded and insular. Movements can collapse when the mission becomes everything instead of something specific. But the phrase "think globally, act locally," or my paraphrase, still comes to mind. Now, you know, the CNN, the Fox News, the Agent analogy. Here's the part where people say, real Panthers, they don't talk like he talks. I beg to disagree. I beg to differ. But let's try to put this up. Where was I? So, you know, there's this, remove the, stop sharing. Let's see if we can get this up. So again, we got this news article from a source in Lansing, Michigan. This is what I mean when I say this is not a 2026 type of thing. Now, back in 2020, on June 11th, 2020, that's when this news article came out, talking about Paul Birdsong and his attendance at Black Lives Matter rally. So, Paul Birdsong is leading civil rights protests. Oh, now in 2020, you can say, well, he came up out of nowhere. But if he came up out of nowhere in 2020, in 2026, you can't say, well, he came up out of nowhere. He's been working, doing something. Now, the news article goes into the things that he was doing. He has a discussion about an altercation with the police. But I hear people saying Black Panthers never talk like that. I'm like, what Black Panthers were you? Who are you referring to? Now, in 2020, he was discussing. Birdsong said he went to Sunday's protest to protect his girlfriend, Coretta Collins. The protest began peacefully, but it erupted around dusk into chaos. Police confronted protesters with clouds of tear gas. Before long, he got into a fight with a cop. That was very Pantherish to me. He grabbed me first, Birdsong recalled. I will punch you if you punch me. So he grabbed me and I swung. I'm not Martin Luther King, I'm Malcolm X. Now, all I'm saying is, most people are aware of the Black Panther Party because of their confrontation with the police. Now, that is historically sad. Let's come back to the business. Like I said, most people are only aware of the Black Panther Party because of their confrontation with the police. Now, that's historically sad. Because they were to a great extent even more impactful, more powerful, more important because of their direct impact on the community. But you can't separate them and say it was only one, it's only this or it's only that. They were both. So when people say, well, he don't act like a Black Panther, the Black Panthers did not mind getting into it with the police. He was getting into it with the police back in 2020 during the George Floyd era protest. So that's an article coming out of what is that, Michigan, where he was back then. And I heard some people say Black Panther Party members, no, they didn't leave the city. They stayed in one place. I'm like, look, ain't nobody saying that you gotta believe this brother. Nobody says that you gotta follow this brother. You ain't gotta go join the organization by whatever name they go by. But we can't be that misinformed. That's one of the big problems with the Nasheedites. When you are just terribly, powerfully, insanely misinformed. Say the Black Panther Party members didn't leave. I mean, did you hear about Asada Shakur? Now, maybe they left under duress. Maybe they moved from one city to the next, from one state to the next, from one country to the next under duress and in order to survive. But one way or the other, moving around was a part of being in the movement. Now, like I said, I hope maybe I brought some attention to some of the factuals, at least as far as where he come from. Now, I'm not saying that he's squeaky clean, and I've heard the people talking about well, at one moment they said he was a gangster, and they said it. Look, I mean, that's, you can have those arguments in debates. I try not to have those arguments in debates. Sometimes I have to. But here's the thing is, if you're doing the work, they did that with Malcolm X, and he clearly showed them. He showed them verbally, he showed them physically. If you do the work and you're on the right side of things, then the past just becomes unimportant. So again, all I'm saying is we have to at least be historically accurate. Original Panthers used militant rhetoric. They used aggressive rhetoric. They used confrontational rhetoric. They used anti-police rhetoric and armed self-defense. Whether you're talking about Huey, Bobby, Fred, they absolutely used language about confrontation. So the idea that the Panthers were polite, sanitized, NGO-style TED Talk speakers, that's historical revisionism at its worst. Now, there are very clear examples of Panthers using, explicitly violent, or I almost don't want to say it, might hit a stake. But I would say, kill the oink oink style rhetoric, especially around armed self-defense and retaliation against police. They very well did. Now, I'm not saying this to demonize anybody. As far as I'm concerned, it's part of it. Using that language is it's part of what draws you in to the Panther aesthetic. It's what magnetizes us to the Panther aesthetic. So I'm saying this because there's been too many people trying to sanitize the history. Panthers used harsh, even unalive the oink oink type rhetoric. And at the same time, they built free breakfast programs, health clinics. They built schools. Both are true and both happen at the same time. Because of them, we can sit down to meditate and then stand up with a clear mind and say, Second Amendment. So should I enter it into the record? Like 1969 speech from Fred Hampton, in which he said you can murder a liberator, but you can't murder a liberation. Or was it you can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder the revolution? And in that speech, he said something along the lines of, a lot of these people will go up to you in a minute and say, why are all these people being taken? Why haven't they shot it out with some pigs? Well, what do we say? If you kill a few, you get a little satisfaction. But when you pay them all, you get complete satisfaction. Pay a few and get a little satisfaction. Pay some more and you get some more satisfaction. Pay them all and you get complete satisfaction. That's Fred Hampton. No, don't believe me? Look up the murder of Fred Hampton, 1971. It's a documentary. So people saying, well, I knew something was wrong when Paul Birdsong said I'll put a hole in you just the size of a toe. Why? I don't know why you thought something was wrong. Listen, this case is, I swear, pathological lying, compulsive lying, consummate lying is an infectious disease with these FBAs. I'm telling you, like, I swear I be trying not to call them out. But yeah, that's who it was that was saying it. In the conversations that I was having, it was some FBA advocates. I said that way. I don't know if they are a member of the Nashidite cult or not, but they were definitely speaking of it. And I'm just like, look, again, you don't have to agree with them. Many people didn't agree with the Black Panther Party. There were plenty of black people on the ground in the community that didn't agree with the Black Panther Party. They didn't like, they didn't side with, they didn't want to see them confronting the police. They didn't want to help them feed the community. But you don't have to lie about it. You don't have to make up stuff. You can just say, I heard about him, it's not my thing. You don't have to feel this pressure. Ain't nobody putting your back to the wall like, do you support, like they tried to do Obama. Ain't nobody doing that to you. Now, if we enter into the record, see if I can get one more clip. I'm gonna try to pull up a Bobby Steele speech. And we'll play this. Let me see if we can get this Bobby Steele speech online. And share. Let's see if we can get this Bobby Steele speech to go.
Huey says we're going to go forth. We're not going to slide in and roll in. We're going in our black communities, brothers, with our 12-gauge shotgun and our 357 Magnum and our 45s. And we're going to patrol these pigs who've been brutalizing our people in the black community. And if we catch one of them pigs brutalizing and trying to murder one of our people, we say, we're not going to stop arrest. All we're going to do is bail the brother out. But if we catch him brutalizing them or trying to kill one of them, we're going to kill them pigs.
Now, don't tell me I ain't never heard no Black Panther speak like that. That was standard language for the Black Panthers. That's why we grew to love them. Like I said, you don't have to agree with whether we talking about the Black Panther Party of old, whether we talking about the Black Lion Party of International Solidarity. Speaking in provocative terminologies, speaking profanely to make some folks touch their pearls is standard vocabulary. So, and I could go on. I gave you Fred Hampton. I gave you Bobby Seale. Huey P. Newton was often talking about off the pig. Now, that wasn't a culinary comment. It could have been if you're coming from a Muslim background. I'm off the pig. But that ain't what he was talking about. But it's circulated in Panther culture, in graphics. It was understood as a call to take necessary action. Now, okay, yeah, some party members later would try to reframe it. But they even had congressional hearings discussing Panther imagery, described the cartoon with a cop depicted as a pig, and the caption was, "The only good pig is a dead pig." Now, there's something called a Panther's broadside, people's number one enemy definition of a pig. And it cites our Minister of Defense, Huey P. Newton, and it explains that if Black people are armed and organized, Second Amendment, for liberation, the racist dog policemen will be forced to withdraw immediately from our community and cease their murder and brutality and torture of Black people. It then warns, oink oinks come in all colors, from a white racist to the blackest of lackeys. So again, the Black Panthers were definitively committed to stand against police brutality. This Black Lion Party seems to be definitively against police brutality. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, but the Black Panther Party only cared about the Black folk. That ain't true. It's systematically not true. And here's why I say that. It was Fred Hampton himself that committed the Black Panther Party to expanding. And what do I mean by that? Y'all heard of the Rainbow Coalition? I ain't talking about Jesse Jackson. Let's add one more historical layer that people are either missing or skipping over. Because this is where Paul Birdsong and the Black Lion Party is standing their ground, is planting their flag. This internationalism, this solidarity, that's the Rainbow Coalition. And see, the Black Panther Party is the ones who started that. And they didn't just talk theory, they practiced what today is called coalition politics. Real grassroots, on the ground, boots on the ground, street coalition politics. In Chicago under Fred Hampton, the Panthers built the original Rainbow Coalition. That coalition included 4 whites. They called themselves Young Patriots. It included Puerto Rican organizers, like the Young Lords. It included other working class organizations. Why? Because they all lived in the same city. They were all being policed. They were all being brutalized. They all were having their rights trampled on, shredded upon. So you had Black Panthers, you had white Appalachians, you had Puerto Rican organizers and other Latino organizers. The Chicano and Brown Beret movement. And they all connected to that same coalition logic. So yes, Panthers worked with white people. Oh no, how dare you say that? That's the fact, that's the truth. Yeah, they didn't let them come into the vote. They didn't necessarily let white people become Black Panthers. They worked with Latino groups. They work with Puerto Rican groups. They worked across racial lines deliberately and strategically. Now, so when Paul Birdsong says, look, we've been doing this thing since 2020. It's some brothers in the community that got a problem with us not doing this thing. Let's keep it real. They didn't say they had a problem with him feeding the hungry children. They didn't say they had a problem with him confronting the police. They said they had a problem with him using their name. That's completely fine. But that don't mean you downcast the brother and from what I've read, from what I've seen, please correct me where I'm wrong. From what I've read, he got about 100 people so far in his organization. So that's about 100 people, give or take, what have you, since around 2020, 5 solid years. This would be the 6th year. Feeding people once a week, patrolling the police, showing up at rallies and protests and etc. So why would you want to gloss over that? Why would you want to ignore that? Why would you want to malign that? But again, I'm not saying that they merged the Rainbow Coalition. They didn't. They didn't merge into one organization. They didn't erase community boundaries. They didn't replace local organizing. They didn't police other people's communities. The Black Panthers didn't say, well, we're going to go over there to where the white folk live and we're going to make sure that the police don't mess up the white folk. No, they didn't do that. They stayed in their communities, wherever they live. They didn't go into Latino neighborhoods to become enforcers. They didn't substitute themselves for local leadership. What they did was coalition. What Paul Birdsong seems to be doing is coalition. Get a brother grace, get a brother space to do it. Since he's been doing it since 2020. At least that's what the local news has said. Black Enterprise did an interview. Or an article. I'm not going to lie, I shouldn't say an interview. Let me pull that up. Share the screen. So again, you have this Black Enterprise interview, article. And it talks about Paul Birdsong, who labels himself as the group's national chairman, and attending members feel ICE should be abolished and the current administration should be held accountable. And you can tell me you disagree with that? He says, as a part of this conversation that he's having with Black Enterprise, you got people that are part of a cabal, that are self-serving, and they prey on the common folks of the United States. Now, the Black Enterprise article says, trained by some of the original party's surviving members, the Black Panther Party is known in the city of brotherly love for hosting weekly free food programs in North Philly for years. Community members who stop by for free food are used to seeing the group's members armed and ready, which creates a sense of security for those that they serve. Older members of the community call them role models and remember the days when their party held events at the Church of the Advocate. So again, what am I saying? Why am I showing you this? Because again, we have, like I said, I'm not here saying we should all run out and go join the new Black Lion Party. I'm saying you should at least be able to support these brothers in spirit. You should at least not be throwing daggers at them online. Now, we all know that online communities have currency, have influence and sway on the culture. you see a group of brothers that's willing to hit the streets and fight, hey, as far as I'm concerned, if they hit the streets right now and help fight against ICE, maybe, just maybe, if they're linking up with white activists that want to end ICE, if they're linking up with Latino, Hispanic activists that want to stop ICE, maybe, just maybe, they will put an end to the ICE brigade, the ICE man cometh, before the ICE brigade says we're finished with them. Now we want to do a full court press on the Negroes. Maybe. I ain't saying, like I said, I ain't saying you got to go out there and join them, but you could at least support them in spirit. What the Black Panthers did back then and what these brothers are doing right now is called coalition. Now, the Black Panthers back then, they met together. They organized together. They rallied together. They educated together. But they didn't replace anybody. They didn't put Hispanic people in the black community, you stay on this corner. They didn't put black people in the white community, you stay on this corner. But they did build political pressure together. And they went back into their own communities and did their own work in a parallel style. That's what solidarity actually looks like. It's not a takeover. It's not substitution. It's not displacement. And it ain't no symbolic savior politics. Solidarity meant then what it means today. Coordination without erasure. Unity without loss of autonomy. Coalition without identity collapse. Each group remained rooted in its own people, in its own base, in its own struggle, while aligning against shared systems, police brutality, poverty, housing exploitation, and state violence. That matters for this conversation. That matters for this moment. Because historically, solidarity never meant one group becomes a protector of everyone. And it ain't gonna mean it today. It means each community builds power in its own space and we synchronize our struggle. So when people feel tension around the Paul Birdsong movement, are they Black Panthers or not? They're Black Lions now. I don't care what their name is. They could have came out and said, we are the Black Crocodiles. Are you so invested in a name that you don't care about who they're helping and defending? When they come out and say we're going to protect, if they're protecting people, especially the immigrants, especially the Black immigrants, we can all walk out our door and be mistaken for a Black immigrant. They got the stories out there now. Where if your accent don't sound on point, they're going to grab you anyhow. So when he says we're here to protect the immigrants, why? Because it's the immigrants that are being viciously attacked right now. I'm not saying that we are not being viciously attacked. I'd be a fool for that. Nobody is saying that. But some of us, especially the FBAs, they brag about the fact that they ain't gonna touch us because we was born here. So if you follow that logic, then right now we safe. So if we that safe, what's wrong with them extending an olive branch to a group of people who actually look like us and come from the same motherland as us, and they're not safe? So when they say they're gonna police ICE, and you have people say, well, I got a problem with that. I don't even know why you want to do that. You don't understand solidarity. That is the very nature of how solidarity works. Now, I'm with anybody that says, look, we did a whole lot of stuff in the past and ain't nobody come to help us. I understand that. I have said it myself. I feel that myself. But factually, that is not true. I love history. I love facts. Now, that don't mean everybody came to help. But you can't say nobody came to help. If you go back to when our African ancestors were enslaved, the abolitionists were white folk trying to end slavery, so they came to help. Wasn't enough of them. They didn't do it the strongest way. They don't get but so much credit. If you go back to the civil rights movement, it wasn't enough white people that helped, but some did, and some lost their lives. So you can't just be willy-nilly with factual history just because you feel like it. That's the problem when you get too invested in the feelings. It's supposed to be facts over feelings. Now, okay, historically, the Panthers didn't say we will become defenders of their community. They said we will stand with you while you build power in your own community. Now, that would be a more accurate assessment if you want to say, if you want to have a challenge, if you want to have an issue with what the Black Lion Party is doing. Then you can frame it that way, and at least you're on more solid, factual ground. Because allyship is not self-erasure. That's what you have to recognize and realize. You can't say you want allies and then absolutely refuse to be an ally. Now, that don't mean we're supposed to get out in them streets. But if we see brothers that's willing to do some work, we should support them. Solidarity is not self-sacrifice. Unity is not identity deletion. Coalition is not community replacement. Real unity, actual unity, is a parallel power building strategy. So if the goal is true internationalism, like they say, the stronger model isn't one group trying to be everywhere. It's helping other communities build their own organized power structures, their own leadership, their own protection systems, their own political education, and their own autonomy. So for anything, if I were little old me, if I were to make a suggestion, the same way that the U.S. will send a small group of soldiers into a country and say, your job is to train the people that need to be trained so they can take up arms and defend themselves. That would be a suggestion for the Black Lions. But you ain't got to take my suggestion. Like I said, I still support the stance that they're taking. But I do think that some of the pushback does honestly come from a proper distrust. And I'm not saying that it's not, I'm not saying it's not warranted. It is warranted. But it can't be the overall deciding factor. Because then you just fall into group hate. Then you just fall into isolationism. That's when xenophobia begins. So from a historical perspective, solidarity works best when every community builds its own power and we coordinate, not replace each other. And ironically, that model actually protects unity better, not worse. Because it prevents dependency and resentment and identity conflict and political confusion and narrative exploitation. It creates a united front without internal collapse, which is, again, I think, at least one of the reasons that the name change was warranted. So me personally, I'm not gonna call them fake. I don't think they're fake Black Panthers. I heard a brother calling them meerkats. I thought it was funny, comedic. And if it was just in jest, it would probably be okay. But I don't see them as fake, at least not yet, not right now. Like I said, if they came out, or again, if Birdsong came out in 2020 during the George Floyd era, right along with a lot of other people, right along with Black Lives Matter, the real ones, not the fake ones. And he's been on the ground doing the things that Black Enterprise says he's doing the things that the Michigan, what was that? The City Pulse said he was doing the things that the Inquirer said he was doing, then I can't call it fake radicalism. I can't call it performative politics. So what I see is a movement trying to define itself, redefine itself. And yes, it's been struggling with the structure of how solidarity is supposed to function and historically and today. But that is to be expected. I don't even so I can't blame him or them. It's about 100 of them, so the articles say. I can't blame them for that. I don't blame the Black Lion Party, the group. I don't blame, well, up until today or yesterday, I don't blame this new iteration for struggling with the structure. Because if you know, or rather, if you notice, if you remember, this same type of back and forth, this same type of struggle happened before. When the brother Malik Zulu Shabazz announced that he was reigniting the Black Panther Party, it wasn't full on embrace. It was pushback. There were elders that said, oh, no, you're not. You can't just call yourself a Black Panther. He still kept doing what he knew in his heart, what he knew in his mind was the right thing to do at that moment. But a lot of elders said, don't you go attaching us to whatever it is you're doing. That's that whole legacy politics of an authorization. So again, we need not to be so focused on the infighting and focused on and be more focused on the goal. So the name change itself has merit. And I think if you are dismissing him, if you're dismissing them as a movement, as a group, because they started with a name that maybe they shouldn't have, I still think you're wrong. If you're dismissing him and them, the group, because they changed the name. Well, first you was this and now you was that. I'm just confused. You ain't that confused. You're wrong. Now, as I said, if you can show and prove that they haven't been on the ground. So was the Michigan News article that talked to him in 2020, was that fake? If you can show and prove that they haven't been on the ground feeding the hungry, like the news articles say, because for the most part, everybody is reacting to the hole in your chest interview as if that's the only thing. Now, historically, you got to go back and check the timeline. So you have to be able to show that those news reports were fake. You have to be able to show they haven't been helping people. They haven't been putting coats on people who needed coats since 2020. Now, if you show and prove that, if you show and prove that they just lying, well, then we got cosplay at hand. And then we can call a spade a spade. But until then, it's solidarity. That's what it is. And the name change doesn't mean it's a failure. It means they saw the map and they made a strategic decision. And history already gave us at least one working model. Coalition, not substitution. Unity, not erasure. Solidarity, not replacement. There's always parallel struggle. And it doesn't have to come at the expense of political absorption. Now, if that framework had been used from the beginning, perhaps a lot of this friction probably never would have existed in the first place. But I don't know, because if they would have came out first, even back in 2020, if they would have came out as the Black Lion Party for international solidarity and self-defense, we still wouldn't have heard of them until the Renee Good murder. So we would still be responding to, he said he was gonna put a hole in the chest of ice agent. And some people would still be like, well, I don't know about all that. That seems a little bit aggressive. So again, that's why I keep stressing this. Follow the timeline. If these brothers have been doing this work since 2020, okay, some of you will say, well, that still ain't that long. I grant you, it's not that long, but it ain't that short. It ain't yesterday. It ain't a 2026 thing. So this notion that they just popped up out of nowhere, no. And I'm not going to draw a finalized conclusion under my false impression that they just got started. That's why I pulled up the article. Because from what I've read, what I've looked at online, what I've checked out, what I investigated, yeah, little old me. Like I said, if they date back to 2020, and you can't say it's overnight. That's the same mess they pull on. They pull that kind of thing on everybody. As soon as somebody gets some success, well, it came overnight. And like, well, no, I've been doing this work for 20 years. It just finally popped. Many movements got started in 2020 over George Floyd and COVID and whatnot. Many people decided at that time, I'm not just going to sit here. Many people decided I'm going to form something. I'm going to do something. And many of those people did not get news headlines. And many of those people are still doing that work. Whatever it was they started in 2020, they still doing it today, but they ain't been on CNN. So again, while I'm always ready to point out the aesthetics of COINTELPRO, and I'm always cautious. Trust me, I am. And I'm deliberate before I lay that judgment down about COINTELPRO, because they do seek to divide us. But here's the thing. So when I say stuff like the FBA is trying to divide us, they literally are. They are proud of division. And what you see coming from this brother is not division. You see, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to defend people. I'm trying to bring us together. Now, I'm not saying that there is no COINTELPRO going on. I'm saying the evidence is thin. Paper thin, like MC Light used to say. So again, I just keep going back to working in the community, feeding hungry people, clothing people. I don't see that as division. Then we can all be shocked that he made it to CNN. We can all be shocked that he said, I'm gonna come out here with a bigger gun than the ICE agents. But there's groups out here today with bigger guns than the ICE agents. There are groups out here today feeding the hungry and putting clothes on the homeless. They just don't get the headlines. And when they get a chance to be interviewed, they don't necessarily have a viral soundbite coming out of their mouth. But if the news decided tomorrow, we're going to put a camera and a microphone in front of John Doe or Jane Doe somewhere in bumfuck Illinois, or never heard of Ville, Kansas, right here in Richmond, Virginia. And if that person decides to make a revolutionary, pro-black, and aggressive statement, it'll go viral. And people will say, well, they certainly came out of nowhere. Who could that be? That doesn't mean that the person is a plant. If they truly have been on the ground doing work, that's what it is. But like I said, correct me where I'm wrong. Send me the links. Hit me on the email. Drop a comment on the page. The truth, the final assessment, they changed the name. But they didn't really change their political architecture. They were showing up when there were places to show up. When he was in Michigan, there were rallies, there were protests, and there he was. For whatever reason he moved to Philly, he moved to Philly. He's at rallies and protests in Philly. So from what I can see, it's the same political architecture. The patrols, the feeding programs, the anti-police and anti-ICE posture, and the international solidarity talk. It's all the same. The only thing that was shifted was the branding. Now, whether it works or fails shouldn't be decided by the internet. Hopefully, it won't be decided by the algorithm. It should be decided by consistency, discipline, and results. Now, feel free to tell me what you think. Tell me where I'm wrong about it. Now, I got another clip for you. Let me see if I can pull this clip up. Share the screen. Let's hear what Bobby Seale says.
Power for the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. Not the gun. Power for the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. Power for the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. Not to be an atrocious murder, but to defend yourself against those who oppress you at all costs.
Now, don't tell me that Birdsong talks aggressive. Power of the people. Yes, they always said power to the people. All the people. But in that clip, he says power of the people comes out of the barrel of a gun. And that's a message to anybody. If you support self-defense, if you support the Black Lion Party because they doing something good, you shouldn't remove your support because they changed their name. And if you have your doubts, you can have your doubts. But again, what I encourage people to do is simply, at the very least, be factually accurate. Well, saying, I have my doubts because the Black Panthers didn't talk aggressively about the police. What you smoking? Well, I don't know. He just came up out of nowhere. 6 years. That's what we call it, nowhere. You can have your doubts, but you got to have facts with your doubts. Show me the factual. Right now, the only thing that you can run with is those FBA talking points. Well, he's standing up for the immigrants. We don't do that. We have done that. The FBA don't do that. African Americans have always done that. We don't do it at our own peril. But that's all I got. That's all I got to say now. If anybody viewing and you want to come in, I'll throw a link in the chat. But otherwise, that's my proper perspective. Yes, they changed the name. They are now called the I'm gonna get it. I gotta get it. The Black Lion Party for self-defense and international solidarity. I hope I said that right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Pan-African Black people all over the world, hotep to you. Thank you for joining in, paying attention, listening, commenting. Shout out to the Boogeyman. Shout out to the Boogeyman. Shout out to Mr. K. The FBA love to use talking points from our historical elders for their own grift, but completely bastardize what those same historical elders stood for. That is an absolute gold mine of a statement from Mr. K. Ashe, brother Boogeyman, Ashe. Ashe-o, Ashe-o. So again, we just about finished. We're going to wrap it up. I'll say this. It's a political shift, an ideological repositioning, and a strategic gamble. And if you don't understand the history of the Panthers, if you don't understand the history of internationalism and solidarity politics, you're going to misunderstand everything about this movie. Everything about Paul Birdsong, the Black Panthers, the Black Lions, and everything else. And the ICE agents, the Iceman coming. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your brother Shabazz. This is sometimes Professor Shabazz. This has been the proper perspective. I appreciate you for joining, tuning in, listening, commenting. Please make sure you hit the like button on the video page. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share this video. You know what they used to say about the club? Clubs used to tell you, don't come alone. Bring 3 people with you. Share this video to 3 other people with you, please. That's what makes the algorithm go bumpity bump bump. And with that, I'm going to get up out of here. Peace.